could we fail to do?
You don't look like anyone. You don't look like anything. You were born nowhere. I was born in an ambulance racing down on a dark road in the northern region of France in a town called Nancy. My mom was bowling that night, and she had a beard to make sure that I was going to be a boy. When she was going into labor, they called the ambulance. The ambulance arrived, they raced down, and I was already on my way. So they always told me, you are born nowhere. Ambulance USA, this is what's on my birth certificate in France. You see, I'm the youngest of 4 children, 3 older sisters. Well, that's probably why my mom had that beard. She really wanted me to be a boy. But I'm an avid bowler. So at 4 or 5 years old, I had no idea what I was. I was so confused. And we went back to States, moved to Washington, D.C. in time for me to go to elementary school. So, Filipino mother, black father from North Carolina, whose father was a grandchild of slaves. Now, my father worked in the Army for 23 years and then moved on to teaching for 21 years. He ended up working by the Capitol, by the neighborhood of the Library of Congress, off Capitol Avenue, off Lincoln Street. But we went to public school, all 4 of us. The black kids would always make fun of me. They would call me white because I was different. And they would pull my sister's hair because we have a different grain of hair. What you do to your hair? Why your hair look like that? What's in your hair? I felt like something was different, and I felt like I was wrong for it. Different kind of hair. In junior high, there were these kids. There were these kids who'd ask me for money, and I'm like, all right, here's $1. And then they kept asking it. But at one point, I was like, nah. But they just started taking out of my pockets. Then they wanted to see if I could beat my best friend. They would say, I wonder who could beat who. The light-skinned white guy, who's my best friend, half black, half white, or me, the dark-skinned white guy. So one day, on my way to music class, I had my trumpet. They were in the hallway. They pushed me against my best friend. Took his hand, made it smack my face, so I pushed him and punched me in the face. And I started swinging my trumpet all the way around, hitting people on my way to music class. Halfway through the class, though, the cops came, took me out, and asked me what happened. I told them the whole story, including the story of the kids taking my money, because it was the same kids. They took him out of school in handcuffs, and I went home. My mom was like, you're different, so what? I was constantly having to adapt to change, constantly. Especially when I decided to become a performer. See, as an adult, I would always get these roles that were geared for white guys. In Miss Saigon, I played Chris. And that's probably the hardest time that I had, because Miss Saigon was opening up on Broadway, and they had all this racial tension with Jonathan playing the engineer. And here I am playing Chris. But now Chris is not color specific. He is just American. But the cast got jealous. Now, my first night that I went on stage, every person in the cast was on the wings listening to me sing by the speakers. After the show, somebody came up to me and they said they were dogging my voice. Dogging my voice. The more they got jealous, I just sang harder. I said, fuck them. I'll sing harder. Then I got a call back for Sunset Boulevard, starring Glenn Close, which was going to premiere in Los Angeles. Now, I got these calls from my friends saying, why are you getting the final callbacks for Sunset Boulevard? They're not hiring any blacks for that show. Well, I got the part. But it was a great opportunity for me my child and my wife to go back to our house in LA for a year before he went back on Broadway. Now, here's a story. Here's a story set in the 50s where you would not normally see any black folks in a show during this time, and here I was playing Artie Green and Joe Gillis as an understudy role. There was this guy in the show. What would your character actually be doing dining with us at Schwab's? Where was Harry Belafonte? Where was Sidney Poitier? Where was Dorothy Dandridge? They were with the Hollywood stars. They were Hollywood stars. I know that story about Dorothy Dandridge going through the kitchen door in a Vegas hotel room and not being allowed in the swimming pool. But I don't have to justify with this one fool, but he asked me in front of everybody, and everybody gasped. I said, oh, don't you gasp. By then, I've had a stupid fucking question 5,000 times. You know, nowadays, I like seeing mixed people around. I don't feel different. We were in Algiers Point here in Louisiana. And across the way is my friend Bobby and Louis, both mixed. I go up to them. We look the same. We have the same kind of hair. We look like brothers.